In the heart of the wilderness, a wolf pack thrives, embodying a culture of unity, teamwork, and resilience. Wolves, like successful teams, understand the importance of clear communication and shared goals. Each member plays a unique role, contributing to the pack's strength. Just as wolves collaborate to hunt, a successful team collaborates to achieve its objectives. They move in sync, leveraging each other's strengths, and communicate to reinforce bonds within the pack. A team also finds strength in a shared vision, a common goal that resonates with every member. When wolves take turns leading the pack, a team must recognize the value of balance, promoting a healthy work-life dynamic. They demonstrate unparalleled loyalty and support when one of their own faces a challenge. A motivated team rallies together in times of adversity, providing unwavering support and encouragement. In the dance of nature, the wolf pack symbolizes the essence of teamwork. Just like these magnificent creatures, a united team can conquer any challenge, creating a culture that echoes the strength, resilience, and harmony of a wolf pack. When one eats, we all eat.
Y'all know what I'm gonna say. When one eat, we all eat. Y'all know that is my favorite part of that video, because that is exactly what we believe in over here at Govi. But today we are talking about Black history, and I want to say Black her story, because this is going to be true girl talk. Now, we know of Rock, right, as Rock, Tanya Roquemore. We all call her Rock, but let me tell y'all something. Rock is more than just the Rock here at Govi. We know she does our marketing, our graphics. She's always here with us behind the scenes, coaching us on, being our biggest cheerleader. But I think we all think we know her, but we have no idea of who Tanya Roquemore truly is. And today, I get the pleasure of interviewing her, and I am so excited for this interview. We know that whenever it comes to anything we need, we can call on her. But today, she needs us to just be a listening ear. She's not doing the interviewing today. She's not running the back today. She is not doing anything but being herself. And I am so excited to get to know my big sister even better, because she has a story that we are going to find out all about who Tanya Roquemore truly is right after this video. So stay tuned, share, and tag all of your friends and family, because this is a story that you do not want to miss.
A real friend or mentor is not on your payroll. A real friend and mentor cares for your soul as much as they do their own. This world and its wicked system will become harder and harder to deal with without a real friend and a mentor. And I wish all of you the best on this fascinating journey. It ain't over.
You better make sure in the next season of your life that the person who walked away from you know what they're missing. You better do something with your life. You better do something so strong and so big with your life that they have to sit on the couch and say, that's the one that got by. Man, I should have just stayed in there a little bit longer. I should have been a little more patient. I should have prayed a little bit harder. Do something with your life that makes them regret turning you away and turning you over. That means getting better and not bitter.
Aki! Wait a minute. I don't think people really realize what's about to go down today. I learned so much about you these past couple of days that my mouth was to the floor. But I don't think we can really truly do this interview without bringing up, you're a big sister to all of us. You're a mentor to all of us. You're always pushing us through. You're always making sure we're the cheerleader when we're down, and before we go on the stage, what we need to say, how we need to look, how we need to have posture before we come up on here, making sure our cameras is straight and our background is clean and all this stuff. But it takes one to know one. And you have the mentor has to have a mentor. They say the coach has to have a coach, right? And I always thought that maybe it was Mr. Lloyd, but you had a life way before you tapped into this network marketing sector, right? Because that's what we seem to know you from. And you have a big sister. The big sister has a big sister. The big sister has a coach. The big sister has somebody who pushed them. So I don't think I can do this interview without Lori Glasgow, who was your big sister. I want to ask her some questions because I think you're going to hold back. So I needed a backup. So can we bring Lori up? Because Lori going to make sure. Lori going to make sure we going to get the facts.
So
I can't You gonna tell me what you want me to know. And see, now that we done dug a little deeper, I need to know the whole story, not what you want to tell us for the surface view. I want to know the girl from South Central.
All right, so you want me to bring up, so you just brought me up here to bring on Lori.
I cannot ask these questions without Lori.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing to say.
Let me tell you.
Touched. And here we go. Lori Howard Glasgow.
Listen, Lori, I am so grateful and thankful that you are here because we didn't really know who. This is a whole nother person. Okay. This is a whole nother person. First, before we get started, I need to know, Rock. I need to know how. Cause see, y'all gonna trip out when y'all hear this, because y'all didn't know this about Rocky. Y'all did not know that Rocky actually was in politics at a very young age. And I am trying to figure out what government officials allow Rocky to work in their office, in their facilities, okay? That ain't even the half of it. Rocky, how did you get an internship with the government?
Okay, well, first of all, and Lori, to see, I'm so nervous because it's not about me. It's about the fact that two girls.
We need the backstory.
I think they want the backstory, Rocky.
We need the backstory, Rocky.
I think you're gonna have to tell them.
I'm gonna have to tell them. Okay,
you're gonna have to tell them.
Okay, so my grandmother, and it's not a long story; it's a quick story. But my grandmother founded something called the Broadway Democratic something. Anyway, it was a very powerful base in South Central. And the representative for that area, well, actually everybody that went anywhere in government, they most likely didn't succeed without the backing of the Broadway Democratic, whatever. I should have had my cousin give me the name of it. I forgot. But anyway, it was a political action, like a PAC. And one of the people, or the assembly person that represented the area at that time, who is now a very powerful and popular congresswoman, was Maxine Waters. My grandmother was more like a mother to most of the people. They referred to her as their mother, literally. My mother was like their sister. And I didn't know who these people were. I grew up with them. Whatever. I'm Maxine, Uncle Bill, all those people. I didn't know that they were powerful people.
Tell them who Uncle Bill was. You told them who Aunt Maxine was. Tell them who Uncle Bill was.
Uncle Bill was a senator.
State senator.
A state senator. And Maxine is, of course, Maxine Waters. And so I was in student government in college, and my major at the time was restaurant management. and I went to restaurant management because my mama told me that I had to go to college. And I was like, well, I really didn't desire to. So I went up to the local community college, and the lines were long. So I just got in the shortest line so I could just get it over with until I graduated. I mean, that I went to school and that I was enrolled, and that was restaurant management. Had like 3 people in line. So yeah, of course, I'm in restaurant management, but I also got entangled in student government, and that made my grandmother so happy. First thing she did was called Maxine and Uncle Bill. She called all of them and told them, and I was on my way to Sacramento. I didn't know I was on my way there, but she told me I was on my way to Sacramento. And when I got to Sacramento, they all, each of them, like, can you imagine? That's when I found out who they were. They all set aside like an hour and a half to sit and talk to me and tell me how I was going to behave in Sacramento and what I was going to do in Sacramento. I did not desire any of this. And Maxine was literally grooming me to become an elected official.
Wow.
I wasn't interested. So she called Mel, who was, what was Mel's position with Senator?
He was the chief of staff to the Senate President Pro Tem.
Yeah, real important person. She called him and said, you know, do something with her. And so he had this girl named Lori Howard at the time that was running.
Wait a minute. We're going to get into that. So when you got there, your grandmother kind of pushed, she put in a good word. She was a well-respected woman. And she said, hey, this is my granddaughter, take care of her. And so they just trusted your grandmother.
No, it wasn't trust. It's like your mama told you to do something.
Your mama told you to do this. So this is what they had to do. And so you get here, you start working, and then you meet Lori. And Lori, what was your position at that time?
Wait a minute, Lori. So what was the phone call you got? This is funny. I just found out about it. When Mel found out he had to hire me, what did Mel do? This is funny.
No, you tell it.
Yo, because you told me.
Oh.
You said Mel called you and told you was getting an intern, right?
Okay,
Yes.
so this is how the connection started. So somebody called you, Lori, and said, you're getting an intern. Okay, what happened? What was the phone call like?
Well, there wasn't much conversation. When the chief of staff to the Senate President Pro Tem calls and tells you you're getting a staff member, that means you're getting a staff member, and there's really not much to talk about. But shortly after Rocky got there, I got even a more scary phone call from Rocky's mama.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. When you finally said you're getting this new staff, this intern to come over, when she walked in the door, what was her task? What did you tell her to do? What was her job?
That's a good question. Do you remember that, Rocky? Because you didn't come in the middle of the conference. You came right as we were starting to plan.
No, we hadn't even thought about it.
No.
Oh, so you came at the beginning or something. Okay.
So keep in mind, I had just gotten the job. So I was there about, I would say 5 or 6 months before Rocky got there. So I'm this brand bright, shiny, new chief consultant of a Senate Select Committee trying to prove myself at 24.
Wow.
Yes, and Rocky was 19.
Wow. So then her mom calls you. What was that conversation like?
Her mother told me, you better not let nothing happen to my baby. This is my baby. This is my only baby. She gave me a good talking to the point where I knew I better not let nothing happen to her. Unfortunately, as we began to engage in criminal activity.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. So now you're in there. The program was called Small Business Enterprise. Was that the program?
Senate Select Committee on Small Business Enterprises. Yes.
So you gotta tell me this story about Rocky doing criminal activity without even knowing she was doing criminal activity. So you guys gotta remember, this is Rocky at 19 years old. She's been thrown into politics, right? Her mother is threatening her boss at this point. And so her boss is like, listen, her boss is like, Lori's like, my job is on the line. So I got to take care of her. And I got to make sure that she's doing what she needs to do because I need to keep my doggone job. So what, how did this criminal activity, they, first of all, y'all, they passed a whole law without knowing they passed the law. Tell us about this.
Well, a couple of things that actually I found out recently because I called Mel, my former boss, in preparation for this. And he told me, which I kind of didn't get the context at the time, but select committees don't usually have hearings, and select committees, it's certainly not in the 80s in California Senate, did not introduce packages of bills because the bills have to pass through the subject matter committees. They have to pass through the policy committees, and they have to go through fiscal and the finance committees, and then they get voted on by the whole Senate and, to the governor, how a bill becomes a law. And so as a select committee, we were the first select committee to create a statewide advisory board made up of small business owners and minority business owners. And so through a series of meetings throughout the state of California, I think we went as far north as the Bay Area, and then we went through Fresno, LA, Bakersfield, and San Diego. Having hearings, we compiled a set of bills. I believe it was 6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
6, yeah.
And we created a business report on the state of small businesses in California at that particular time. And it actually, from what I'm being told, has been used as source material several times, many times since then. And so we did the reports, we created legislation, and I think sort of the hallmark of what ended up kind of being a short tenure. Rocky left before I did to go run Jesse Jackson's campaign, but that's another story. Anyway, yeah.
Part two is coming. Okay. So when you say Rocky,
go ahead.
I was going to tell her about the conference.
Yeah. Before we get into the conference, how did you give Rocky her name and why?
Well, actually, because it was Roquemore, it felt long. And I was like, you're more like a Rocky, like the movie.
Oh, so it didn't have nothing to do with her having a fight with the senator.
No, although that sounds like a good story. I think I may change it. You didn't even tell him about your fight with the senator.
Yeah, we want to know, Rocky. What was that about?
Okay, so I was in Sacramento. You have to understand, I hope you understand, that I did not respect the senators and assembly people for who they were and didn't understand. I was 18 and I didn't know anything about government or any of that. And I didn't respect, all I know is that this man, and you have to understand, his voice is like, the Temptation song, the deep voice on that Temptation song. Okay, that was my Uncle Bill's voice, but raspier and louder and deeper. He had this huge personality, and everybody would literally, they knew him, afraid of him. He was a big man and loud. And at the time, I didn't have a place to stay, or I didn't like where I was staying. I was spoiled. I was rather spoiled. And I didn't like where I was staying. So I called my grandmother and told her I needed a place to stay. So of course she called. I told her I was homeless and, I was doing my spoiled thing. So of course she called her son, Bill, my Uncle Bill, and told him to find me a place to live. Well, he, of course, is going to do what his mother told him to do. And so he went to look for, no, he didn't go to look, but he told his staff to find me a place to live. Well, they had the audacity to think that they were going to put me in like this broke down, tore down place where homeless people, and it was like little, it was not, it was not me. Even though I'm South Central, I'm not that South Central. No, we're not doing that, sir. And so I called my grandmother after visiting the location, and I told her, and I might have exaggerated. Again, I'm spoiled and I have a tendency not to tell the truth all the time. And so I might have exaggerated a little bit, but I basically told her that it was unacceptable. So she called him on the Senate floor, and they pulled him off the Senate floor to come talk to her because it was an emergency. So he summoned me, and our office was like down what we call the mall. It was like down the street from the Capitol. So I got summoned to the Capitol to my uncle's office. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna go get me an apartment because I know that my grandmother got him. Well, she did, and all I heard as I approached his office was his big voice yelling and screaming. And so when I get into the office, the staff is just quiet, and they just point basically for me to go on in. So I went in, and he's yelling, screaming, cussing me out, like an uncle would do. It's not like, I don't understand that he's this major senator. So of course who are you to yell at me? So we're in the office, and nobody would ever, Lori, am I right? Nobody would ever even talk back, let alone raise their voice to him. Yeah, so yeah, I got a place to live.
Okay, so I thought, I'm sure you did. I thought that maybe it was that's how you had got your name. But so you guys are changing laws. You're creating these programs and packages.
I think it's important, not to cut you off, I think it's important to mention, because we're talking about history. I think it's important to mention that one of the things that Lori informed me that we got passed as a part of that package was the type of laws that we were concerned with. It was about minority businesses and small businesses. And one thing is, as we all know, if we are late paying the government, they're going to charge us interest. But if the government has to pay us, they kind of be like, get it when you can or whenever. And so one of the pieces of legislature or whatever happened, because I don't remember these things, but from what I understand is that we said that's not fair. And that's what our advisory board said to us, is that that's not fair. Y'all go do something. So we did. And as a result of that, what is it, 12%, Lori? What is it? Something like that. We put it, together. Whereas if they were late paying a small business, now for the first time ever, now this is the history. We talk about Black History Speaks. These two Black girls from South Central put it together so that now the state of California has to pay small. Am I getting that right, Lori?
Yes.
Small businesses when they're late, because they're late. They don't pay on time. And so when they're late, they now have to pay interest. And that was as a result of what we did by listening to the people on the advisory board, which, as Lori said, had never happened before. And from what I understand from talking to Lori is that as a result of our hard work, the senator turned around and started asking Mel, why aren't the other select committees working?
So where did this work ethic come from? Because you and Lori, y'all like came together. It was like, even with the mother calling and all that, it still seemed like y'all had some sort of bond somewhere where y'all just came together like sisters and y'all went to work. Where does that come from? How do two African-American women in the 80s?
We were girls. We were children. we were like children in the playground.
Yeah, as young women. Like at that young of an age, I wasn't thinking about going out, hanging out. Like the 80s was like the time, the beginning of hip hop and all that. You girls was putting in work. Where did that work ethic come from?
Lori?
Well, I think for me, when I started college, it was the year that the Bakke versus UC Davis decision was made at the Supreme Court, which pretty much abolished affirmative action. And so my journey through college was a very strong Black student union that said, you got to get up twice as early. You got to work 5 times as hard just to be considered equal. I felt like all of Black America was on my shoulders. And I think that was instilled in all Black college students at the time. And I had recently gotten my master's degree at the time from USC. And there was just a really big push for excellence. If you're going to be in a position, you need to be excellent at it. And you can't just show up on time. You have to be early, and you can't just do what's expected of you. You have to do a lot more. And so when Rocky came on board, she just had the same attitude. She had the same work ethic. And it's funny because I was talking to her yesterday or however long ago it was. And I told her, and I think she agreed. I don't remember getting to know her. Like, I don't remember, when you first meet someone and it's new and you don't really know them and they don't really know you. So you kind of tiptoe around. I don't remember any of that happening with Rocky. I remember her coming. We hit the ground running. Shortly after she got there, we knew we were going to have a conference. We wanted to have a small business conference to help small businesses that wanted to do business with the 1984 Olympics. Now, the historical significance of that, which we didn't know at the time, obviously, as history's happening, you don't know it's history until it's already happened. Up until then, most of the Olympics were a financial loser to the host cities and the host states or countries, wherever the Olympics were. But when Peter Ueberroth was made the director of the Los Angeles Olympic Organizing Committee in 1984, because of his business background, he wanted the Olympics to actually turn a profit. And as you know, they did. They were very profitable. He created an athletic foundation as a result of the funds that, or the profit that was made from the 1984 Olympics. And since 1984, the Olympics are big business. But that year was sort of the turning point. And Peter Ueberroth was the one who sort of led the charge that said, there's no reason why Olympics should be a drain on the local economy. It should be a boon. And it was. And we had a conference and he was our keynote speaker. And the Senate President Pro Tem, who's the chair, at least the titular chair of our committee, he showed up, introduced him. We had hundreds of small businesses and a record number of small businesses and minority businesses got contracts to work in the 1984 Olympics.
So,
and
the significance of that is that we looked at the big picture. We knew that what was coming. I don't think we understood how grand or how big it was or the role that we would play in that. Mm-hmm. But to Lori's credit, and I'll take a little bit of that, is that we looked at it and it was like, we're small businesses and they're coming to our community. And if you know where the Olympics were happening, they were in the middle of South Central.
Yeah. But now that Olympics they have them worldwide. That is $1 billion. Like, people make billions of dollars when you are a sponsor or a part of the Olympics.
But up until then, the small business community did not know how to engage, they didn't know anything to do. So what we did is that we did the research for the small businesses. We found out what it would take, how to apply. They didn't know how to apply. They didn't know where to go. I'm talking about the barbecue stands. I'm talking about fish markets. I'm talking about the people that are coming into our community, and what they're doing is that they're cleaning up our streets and making it look pretty, but we're not getting anything from it. And that's not fair. So how do we turn that around? How do we teach these people how to tap into all the funding? All the opportunities and the funding. So Lori and I, night and day, this work ethic comes in, and the law breaking comes in, and all this other stuff that we decided to do happens. Because
let's be clear, we at the time they did not know that they were.
Lori knew. So you guys, we keep teasing you with this.
She didn't know.
I didn't know.
Okay, so tell us exactly what it was. What happened? How did this bill pass? What was the bill, and how was it
What happened
beneficial
was
to
that
small business?
this is before Kinko's. You got to understand the time that we're talking about. So we needed copies of everything that we were going to pass out at the conference.
The program, the annual report, the assessment, the needs assess, everything.
Everything. We had to make copies for hundreds and hundreds of people that we don't know where they came from. That was a whole nother story. We have no idea. We had first thought we were getting this room, but we had to, I remember them having to open it up because it was standing room only. Wow. We don't know how we market. Still don't know. But
wait,
so the people were coming to get information on how they could better their small business, how they can get funding, how they can get marketing, how they can get out into
who
the
to contact, where to go. This is before email. This is, well, not before email, but they didn't have email.
No,
they didn't know.
So this we had an exhibit hall where a lot of the vendors could come, where small businesses could actually talk to whoever got the big contract. Say somebody got a big contract for a concession that was worth multi-millions of dollars. Small and minority businesses could come and meet with them and pitch their services to be subcontractors, because we were really targeting very small businesses. So they were mostly going to be subcontracting, but they didn't know who to contact. Like, you know, if you own a t-shirt printing company and you want to print the who are you going to call? How are you going to know how to even put a bid out?
Ghostbusters. Who you going to call? This is before Ghostbusters.
Yes.
So what happened is that we had to make these copies. Now, what Lori forgot to mention is before she went to the Senate, like a typical politician, before she went to the Senate, she was in the Assembly. Now, names will not be changed to protect the innocent. I'm innocent.
Well,
Lori kept the keys. Now, that for all of you folks, when people graduate.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that y'all had the key to the assembly inside the government state building, and y'all went y'all tails in that state building and used their copy machine?
We would go there at like 7 p.m. and we would be there until like midnight or 1. Do you remember, Rocky, my friend Levita? She came and helped. She was there helping with the conference. Yeah. So it was me, Rocky, Levita. There was another employee that worked for the committee at the time, Joan, Beverly.
Not Beverly was gone.
No, not Beverly.
Well, if you have a small business in the state of California, these are the girls that y'all need to thank for getting the vendors at the fairs, for being able to open up your hair salons and your nail salons and all of that stuff that stand today. Because back in 1984, there were 2 little black girls who broke into the state building, the state capitol building, and used their copy machines to get y'all the information that y'all needed way before social media.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, I think that was our motto. I think our motto was by any means necessary. So we knew we had to provide this material to the people, the attendees to the conference, but we didn't have any way of making the copies. And so what we would do is wait till the other office cleared out, the last person was gone, and I'd use my key, and we would go in and copy for hours and hours. And then it
was illegal.
And Rocky didn't know. She just, you know, and it's funny too, because my boss, Mel, at the time, he did not know. I didn't tell anyone.
Now.
What'd you say?
Who's probably on here now?
Oh, well, I ended up telling him when I called him to get information for this.
40 years later.
40 years later, he said, "You did what?"
You're still in trouble.
He's like, I told him I wanted him to have plausible deniability, so I never told him what we were doing.
You have to understand that was a major, like we're talking water. You cannot do that.
No, you cannot do that.
Major.
You can't go into an office where you don't work and use their copy machine for 4 hours.
Not just an office.
On for several days.
This is the state building. This is officials. Like that key was used for you to get to work and to leave and not use after hours. This is way before you had the key cards. This is way before cameras of seeing who's coming in and out. This was a straight honest system. I commend y'all for doing it, especially two Black girls, because y'all know they would probably threw y'all up under the jail, right?
We would have been in a lot of trouble.
A lot
of trouble.
But I think our view was, like you said, by any means necessary. We had a job to do and we were going to get it done.
Excellent.
Wow.
And hopefully the statute of limitations for breaking and entering has passed.
Yeah.
It has.
Good. Thank
yeah,
you.
exactly.
I guarantee you that Mel is still not happy about it even now. I'm sure.
He's not.
He's not happy.
It probably bothers Mel's spirit just a little bit, but he knew the girls he was working with. He knew that you know who you're working with. You know the type of person they are. So you kind of have an idea. Like for me right now, I didn't know you then, but I wouldn't put it past Rocky because Rocky is known for getting the job done by any means necessary, even with what she does today. So I'm not surprised by this story. What shocks me most is that y'all had the balls, the guts to go and not just being there to copy 2 or 3 papers and hurry up and get out. But if you were in there for hours, that means you were copying thousands of different. And you know how old school copy machines took forever for the copy to go through, and then you got to change the ink hole, the ink thing. Like I can only imagine.
And
y'all live there
on and on. This is not like 1 or 2 days or nights. This was like a lot, because you have to understand the booklet was about that thick, and then you had not just the booklet, you had the reports and the report everything that you would think they needed. If we thought of something, we typed it up and waited
on a typewriter.
Basic, yeah, because my little desk had a typewriter. I didn't have a computer. Bill had.
Did we have? I don't think we had a PC.
I think Beverly did. Beverly didn't have a computer. No, she had a no, we didn't have computers. No, we didn't have computers. This is
that was like ASDFJKL colon.
Yeah. We were on typewriters and we typed that thing up. Now let me tell you about my innocence. Before I got there, I was the secretary for the Community College Student Government Association for California. And I was dictated a letter. And this is how much I didn't know. I was dictated a letter by the president, and I typed it and I sent it out to a lot of officials, a lot of government officials, Marguerite, I forget her name, beautiful
Archie Hudson.
Marguerite Hudson. Yeah. And she called him back because it wasn't like I could email it to him, have proof. And you guys know me and my typos. I had never heard of the word fiscal. So as he was dictating the letter to me and the thing that I had to do, I typed up physical because I thought that's what he said. He had an accent. So I sent this to all these government people and all these major people. And every time it said fiscal, I was putting physical.
Rocky.
I spelt it right.
So I asked Rocky, I was
innocence.
I was talking to Rocky about her college, and she said, "Oh yeah, I had 3 classes at Sac State. Oh no, wait, I went to class 3 times." I knew the number 3 was in there somewhere.
It was Phoenix University. Phoenix University just started, and remember, no computer, so you had to physically go once or twice a week to class. because it's for people in business and working to go and get additional degrees. And so my mother wanted me to go to school, and everybody was encouraging this school thing. I heard about Phoenix, so I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I went to see. I've never been right. All the things that I've achieved in life have not been because it just happened. And so I went to school, and everybody was happy because I was at the university. That's all they needed to hear of Phoenix, which they didn't know about. I went 3 times.
Working for the government.
Yeah. And then I asked Lori last night, I was like, Lori, so do you remember me leaving or quitting? Lori, tell them about how that happened.
She stopped coming less and less. After the conference, and after we had our bill package, and we were sort of, I think at this point we had done all of the heavy lifting of the work that we were doing at that time of our projects. And I think I used to pick you up to bring you to work. Yeah,
because my mother told you.
Yes.
So you had to pick me up and drop me off every day.
So
I would show up.
So she just stopped coming to work?
Yeah, it would be like, first it was 5 days a week, then it was like maybe 3 days a week, then maybe 2 days a week. Then it's like, where's Rocky?
So let me ask you this.
Where did you leave us?
So after the bills have passed, laws been passed, you've created these programs. Are they still using these programs to this day? Do we know?
I think that the residual effect, it's grown, like that was the foundation for a lot of things that happened. And probably if you look at it, you can see our footprint somewhere. I know that there's a thing we found a book on Google, and I'm still upset about that, had everybody's name in it but mine. That's probably because I stopped going to work. That documented everything that we're talking about. So it's truly, when we talk about Black History Speaks and 2 girls from South Central, and what's interesting is that we were literally raised around the corner from each other and didn't even know each other.
Wow.
Right? So it's so much in common. And that's what I wanted. And so this isn't just about me. Lori has, I really expected Lori to be like Secretary of State or something like that. That was the path she was on. And I still stand in awe of what she did. And we reconnected because, once again, I was in trouble a few years ago because I just disappeared. I was
going to say, so after 40 years, you were 18, Rock, you were 24, Lori. You guys are still connected to this day. How?
No, we weren't connected for about 35 of those years. And then I got in trouble. And I got in trouble with one of the properties that I have, and I needed to, what is a word?
Assessment.
No,
You wanted to appeal.
I had to appeal. I had to file an appeal. And so I went online because my attorney is horrible. And so I went online to basically find out when's my appeal date and what's going on. And I go online, and the head person over the whole appeal thing looked familiar. Like, this is a huge position. Like, the whole Los Angeles head honcho person
was Lori.
Was Lori. Her picture on the internet. And I'm like, she looked familiar. Because every once in a while I would look her up, but I couldn't find her. Because I would think about her. I would drive by her house. And let me tell you, what she talked about my mother. Her mother introduced me to art. I had never been exposed to art. And the first time I went over to Lori's house and walked in the house, oh my God, the beauty. I almost am in tears at the culture that Lori was raised in, what she was exposed to. And so while my mother was gangster, her mother was artistic. You know what I mean?
So that opened up the door to your creativity. Is that a part of it?
Had a lot to do with it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
To this day.
And then Lori, to this day, you're retired from politics, and government work, but now you're a filmmaker. So
Correct.
you make movies
Yes.
there in California.
Yes, Believers Production Group.
Okay.
Yes, we actually were all ready to go with the production when COVID kind of stopped everything. As you know, it had a very big impact on small independent movie houses. So we have several projects in the works, and we'll probably be starting pre-production in earnest very soon. And I'm really excited about that.
And I'm trying to
But
fix some of my scripts to her.
Yeah, and so Rock, that's something that you guys had this gap, this
Our
30
lives are very
gap.
parallel. Our
But
lives,
yeah, your lives are very parallel because Rocky, you worked in the film industry. You went on a production with one of the biggest stage plays turned movie like that's out there right now, right? You did Barbershop, which is huge. I think we all saw that or heard of that. And it's like you guys had just been like missing each other all these years. But look
I
how
know it was
God
like,
full
yeah,
circle
I know.
brought you ladies back together. That's a beautiful thing.
and that's why I played that video, because you want to mark on people's lives, and that's where I really wanted. It wasn't about me coming on and talking about me and exposing the things that I've done, because trust me, I have forgotten more things than I can remember about the things that I've done. I've been blessed. Lori and I, and Wesley, I see your questions, and we can link up and talk about that. He wants to know what type of movies and do you handle urban scripts.
Yes.
Lori, she said yes.
Yes.
And I got a plug for you, Wesley, some things that you should watch as well. Somebody else within the pack that's doing big things. But the reason why I really wanted to end the month, Lori and I having a discussion, is because it doesn't matter where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I believe we get our work ethic from.
Yeah.
Her mug says, do the work. That's what's about, doing the work. And when you walk out of that room, you want people to know that you were there. When
Do
you
the work, Lori. I see you.
do the work.
Do the work. That's the word of the day. Do the work.
When you walk in a room, you want people to know that you've arrived. Be strong, and then we fight. And it's so important, and it was very important to me, and I was very nervous about this because I didn't want this interview to come across as, oh, look what I've done, and look who I know, and what I've been, and my aunt, because Maxine does not. You talk about someone who broke someone's heart. I know she was grooming me to do major things, and I just was 18 and didn't care and walked away from her too. After she had put me in charge of the state of California, I ran the Jesse Jackson campaign in '84 when he ran for president at 19. But you want people to know your work ethic and be proud of. And she asked, where did we get it from? I believe Lori and I and Wesley, I see you, my brother, from South Central. South Central is where we get our work ethic from.
Yeah.
South Central is where all of this comes from, because I don't care if you an addict. I don't care if you are slanging on the corner, or no matter where you are, good or bad, there's something about us that always want more. And it's very unique to South Central, is that we strive to keep going. We put in the work every single day. That no matter where, and I believe that it's unique to South Central, because I've never met anyone from South Central that didn't have this work ethic. That's where Dr. Dre, that's where Snoop, all of us have that same innate quality. And I just want people that's watching this and laughing with us and saying, we did whatever it took. We stayed up. It was like Lori would drop me off at 2 o'clock in the morning and be back at 6 to pick me up. And she knew she had to do it because my mama told her, because you understand the law of the land from a gangster. When my mama was gangster, you got to understand, my mama was truly gangster. I mean, for real, for real. And you have to understand, when they speak, you do it. And so being from where we're from, you keep going. And that's right. The hungrier the person is, the harder the fight. We kept going because we knew, as Lori said, we had to do more and be better in order to just be considered halfway equal.
Yeah.
And that's what I want the pack to understand, is that we as the pack, sometimes you lead, sometimes I lead. And that's what was so unique with Lori. Even though she was my boss, she knew that there were things like when we were putting on that conference, we keep talking about it, but we have not even touched on the scope of that conference. But she laughs all the time. I don't remember this, but she tells me that I had the hotel like trying to find out who I answered to, which was Lori. And they called her because they want. I was telling them what needed to be done at 18, how to get it done, and that I wanted, which is true, and that's my restaurant management thing, that we're going to put on this conference, but you're going to do a whole tasting menu for me. You're going to tell me, I want to see not just the type of food or what it is, but the proportions that you're serving these people. Because
Yeah.
these small businesses had never been exposed to what we were attempting to expose them to. We treated them the way a business person should be treated, so that they would be hungry enough to go and know what is expected and demanded. And that's what we did. And that's what we have to do in business.
I love that.
Give people what they need, give them a taste of it so they remain hungry and know it. And you can do it no matter what walk of life you're in, no matter who you are, what you're doing. No one answers. They can't go. And that's about the wolf pack, is that a wolf, it might be your day today, but it's going to be my day this day.
That's right.
My mama, you say every dog has his day, and a good dog has two. I don't know about you, but I'm going for my two.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my two. And that's what we have to understand, to keep going, keep building. No does not mean no. It just means not you, but it is for someone. And I get very passionate about South Central. There's not a day goes by that I don't talk about South Central, because that's where I get it from. That's where Lori gets it from. We would not be who we are today without South Central,
and to have support, because just like I supported you, Mel supported me and gave me latitude, and he trusted me. I think you were saying that earlier, Krishan. I'm sorry, I almost called you Tanya. Rocky, I didn't mean to cut you off. You were kind of in the middle of the wolf pack, but I just wanted to throw in, we need support. And hi, Hazel. Hazel said hello, Miss Lori. So I got support. I gave support. And Krishan, Rocky gives a lot of support.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, I don't know.
It's full circle. And I think that's the biggest thing about the pack and the whole meaning behind that, is because one wolf can go find a food for himself. Like, that's not hard. But the difference is, what they understand is that when you do things together, my husband's a fireman. He always say, when the team work, the dream work. And we live by that in our house, even as a family. When we all work together, we can eat together. It'll be more food if 5 of us is working together, opposed to one person working together. And I think that's really what we stand by. And that was the whole concept of the wolf pack. And I agree with you, Tanya and Lori. We can't do anything by ourselves. You can't do anything on the island by yourself. We have to work together. And so and we got to keep going. We can't give up, even when today may not be a good day, but we need to know that we always got tomorrow. I love the fact that both of you guys are creators and that you all work in the film and the play industry. Now I get why Roquemore, Tanya had me host this, because I too come from the film industry. I too work in film. My degree is in film. And I work with independent. I have a ton of movies that I've done on Tubi right now. And I worked on over 24 major motion pictures. I work with people like George Clooney, Kevin Hart, Whitney Houston.
That's what I'm talking about.
So so it's amazing, and it's always fun too when I connect with other filmmakers, because I think we're just a different type of people. Even though we have our great degrees and our work and all of that stuff, we did what we had to do in life. But I get all of my full enjoyment when I'm on a set. So
yes,
this
me
was
too.
amazing.
Me too. I gotta say hi to my friend KB. I gotta say hi to KB. She just signed on. Hi, KB.
Oh, hey, KB.
It says
My
Kimberly
name
Barber.
is KB too.
Yeah, hey, KB.
No, KB.
Okay, B. Hey, KB. Welcome.
And
Sorry.
and so this is not, and this is what I told everyone. This is the culture of the pack. The culture of the pack. And that's why we did Black History Speaks, because we're closing it out right now. And it's almost time to go. And we could go on because there's so many things that we said we want to talk about that we didn't even get to.
Yeah.
And it's just so much of our lives, but the culture of the pack. So know your culture. Our culture is South Central. Know your culture and what it represents. There's not another culture that I want to be a part of. How did they say how to survive in South Central, home of the body bag? Well, you know what? That may be true, the body bag, but what is the body? What is your body of work? Yeah, what is your body? Who are the bodies around you?
Yeah.
And so when you talk about the culture of the pack, and we're bringing out what is the history that we are going to make. We work with a man who started out this series, Kenny Lloyd, who his father laid the framework for everybody in the NBA. Yeah. Every Black player is there because they would have got there eventually, but he started it. He was that one. So where are your bodies? How to survive? How do we build the pack? It's not about the product, it's about the piece. Mm-hmm. It's about what you can offer. And in all things that you do, and I want to say this, in all things that you do, I don't care how supportive you are. I don't care what you do. If it is not genuine and of the heart, we can tell. And it does not survive the test of time. Lori and I started out our journey at 18 and 24.
Wow.
And here we are. I will be 60 this year. So I didn't tell your age. I'll tell mine. I will be 60 this year. Do the math, y'all. Do the math. But I will be 60 this year. I'm still trying to get in my head. But our friendship, even though 35 of those years we didn't talk, but it stood the test of time because I was in need. And God said, you remember that little 24-year-old that was there for you then? She's there for you now. That's what happens when you are in the culture of a pack. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be a part of something, you have to be the reflection of that something. Mm-hmm. So when I walked away and left, Lori, she only gave me the groundwork because I went to Maxine's office, and I'm going to just share this, not crowning my head, but I went to Maxine's office, last story, went to Maxine's office, and she handed me something, Lynn Dimely, that's who it was. That's who I was supposed to run against. And there was a councilman named Merv Dimely. He had a daughter, Lynn Dimely. And Lynn was also being groomed by her father to be an elected official while I was being groomed by Maxine. She wanted the position with Jesse, so she did a report on how to run the students and run the state of California. Well, every weekend I would go down to LA because they told me to, and them people. And I went down there, and once Maxine handed me this big old thick thing, and she said, I want you to analyze this and tell me what you would do. So I didn't have a typewriter at home, so I wrote by hand my entire analysis because Lori had taught me how to do that.
Wow.
And I put it in a one of those paper blue notebooks, wrote on top of it with a ink pen, and 2 days later, 3 days later, I brought it back to her and I handed it to her and said, hey, this is what I think. She looked at it. Thank God I went to Catholic school and had decent handwriting. And she understood it. It was comprehensive. And she said, okay, now go do it. And that's how I became responsible for all the students in the state of California. So I left Lori and went to Jesse Jackson. And when being in that position, I didn't just work for Jesse Jackson. I had to travel with Jesse. I was right there, shoulder to shoulder with the entire staff. I had my own office in the headquarters. And all of that came because of my foundation. And then I carried that to the next place. Lori left not long after me. And she did that same exact thing. And
Wow.
to the PAC, as we close out, and it's not even my job to close out, but as we close out, remember that what he said, when you leave the room, make sure they know that you were there.
Yeah.
And they will come back and they will ask for more. They will ask for more. They will ask for the pills that you're taking. They will ask for the vitamins that you're taking because you look good. I'm looking at myself today and
leaving the essence. You leaving the essence. Yeah. So I love that. I know we got to close out, but let me tell you, just when y'all thought y'all knew Rocky, y'all didn't know. But now you know. So
and
we
you
are
know my
leaving,
foundation.
you know, that's right. You know where the rock came from. The rock that we have here. Not only is her name Rock, but she's also a rock here with the PAC. So we thank you. We appreciate you. And it is not just history. We are not just closing out. This is her story. And I'm so excited that I was chosen to be the one to host this call because I always wanted to know, where did Rocky get her name from? And now we know that her name is not just Rocky, but she is definitely the rock here with the PAC. Y'all have an amazing day.
Wait. Lori,
we out of here.
No, we're not. Lori ain't saying nothing.
Oh, I thought Lori said something. I thought we was closing out.
So closing out, but I done said something. You done said something.
All right, well, let's let Lori close us out. How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
Wow.
How about that?
I am turning it over to you, Lori.
Wow. Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be a part of the Wolf Pack. Like the beginning, I think of the video at the beginning, I think says it all. And I see Wesley, he was making many comments about what it takes to succeed, working together. It takes strength and commitment. And I think based on everything I'm seeing, this Wolf Pack is making a big difference. It's making an impact. And I'm just happy. I'm very proud of Rocky to see where she is and all that she's done. And when I look at her, I still see that little 19-year-old girl. I still see her in there. And she's probably just as mischievous and uncontrollable now as she was then. And I'm just happy to have been a part. So thank you. And really nice meeting you, Krishan. I hope we can work.
Oh, it's nice meeting you too. But we're going to work together on something.
Okay.
We're going to talk.
All right.
I love you, Lori. I love you,
Y'all were
Krishan.
super amazing. I learned so much. Rock has always been a little tyrant, and I knew it. I love you, ladies. Have a good day, and we will see y'all soon. And to the PAC, y'all make sure that y'all tune in Saturday for our Saturday morning training.
All right, y'all. No music, no nothing. We just out of here.
Because we're going to get in trouble. We 5 minutes over. That's why I was trying to hang up before Mr. Lloyd be calling our phones.
No, no, Mrs. Lloyd is on, and she was giving hearts and everything, so I knew I was good.
Oh,
I got the leader of the pack.
We got the leader of the pack. So long as the first lady is in here okaying it, then that's all right, because we know who Mr. Lloyd Boss is. We all know.
Right. Uh-oh, she said bye. Thanks for sharing. I think that means we out. Bye, y'all. She all